Welcome back, my friends, to Sweat and Iron. I am Graham, your host, and this episode, I'm coming straight from the heart here on this one. I'm coming together with Larry and Josh. Larry, you guys are, you've already heard Larry. He's been in the testosterone episode. We talked about murder, steroids, and cocaine in the 80s. And here comes Josh. The two of these guys combined, I could not have a filter. I could not edit this episode. I could not put a filter on them or myself. This is raw content here, and it's coming to you. I hope you soak up every drop of this, get a good laugh out of it, because we talk about pre-workout. We talk about diets. We talk about people with diets going wrong. We talk about people who just shouldn't go on diets, people who just can't wrap their heads around calories and macros and just silly stuff that you see on the internet. You go on Facebook, you join these groups, and you see these people who you just wonder, how do they survive in the real world? And then you also join these Facebook groups where they are being run by these people who just have these blinders on and really do a horrible job of communicating with people in the right habits and what they should be doing. And then you have people out there that are just douchebags in general. So we cover all this spectrum. And keep in mind that I try to keep a narrow perspective of neutrality here, while Larry and Josh just unload. So this was me allowing them to just open up and give their 2 cents. So without further ado, enjoy the shenanigans.
Yeah. No, I got plenty of those jokes. And all my Joker ass friends texted me the OC theme song on YouTube many times when I was moving. That was helpful.
The what song?
The theme song to the OC. That have you never seen that? It's like a shitty soap opera from the mid 2000s. It was like the last primetime soap opera. It ran for like 6 years. It's all about Orange County.
Never got into that. I knew about it, I just never watched it, and I don't know the theme song. Thank goodness. If I did, I might be in trouble.
Actually, it's one of those things where once you get stuck in your head, it's stuck in your head.
I had that problem yesterday. I was think, what song was it that I had? I had the Candyman stuck in my head.
Oh God, that's awful.
I was walking around, I was whistling it, and I don't know how I got in there. I just started whistling it, and somebody's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I got a song stuck in my head." But which song is it? I told them the Candyman, and she turns around, she goes, "Oh, I'm so glad that's you and not me." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know." I just kept on going, meeting to meeting, whistling that song.
Yeah, I've been for the last day and a half. I've had "We Built the City" stuck in my head by Starship. This city. Oh God, and it's horrible.
City on rock and roll.
Oh my God, it's like the most 80s ass horrible thing ever.
Yeah, when I hear it, I picture guys in headbands and flowing hair in the wind,
or stockbrokers high-fiving and doing cocaine. It's literally. It's about as 80s as you can get, short of Flock of Seagulls or something.
Yeah. Cocaine sounds good, actually.
I've had my flirtations. It's good, but you need to know when to walk away.
I've never had it. I was just saying, it would be good, maybe in a music video, it would be good to talk about it.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Josh.
Is that young Joshua?
I don't know about young, but I'm here.
So Larry's on his computer.
You're running MS-DOS 0.5.
Or laptop, or whatever you call it.
It's a very expensive MacBook that I had to buy right around Christmas because my last MacBook died. Graham, did you just wander off and take? Are you taking a piss in the corner? What are you doing?
No. I dropped something on the floor and I kept talking and I'm just like, I don't know where it went.
Was it the soap that you dropped? Because it's a little early in the conversation for that.
Yeah.
Well, I knew that was coming as soon as I said I dropped something.
You knew it was coming.
Oh, now we're getting worse. I dropped the soap and I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
From behind.
Mm-hmm. At least you're prepared.
Yeah. Whenever Josh comes in the room, always be prepared from something behind.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't even deny it. He just goes, uh-huh.
Yeah.
This should be like,
he's like,
there should really be some sort of government agency I have to register with, probably.
So since we've got two jokesters here, we got Larry who's returning from the last conversation we had around testosterone, drugs, and pre-workout, and assholeness, and douchebagness, and what else? We talked about so much stuff.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about liquor at one point.
We did. But now we got Josh here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're all sorry, Josh.
Now it's got to be, everybody's saying, don't censor these podcasts. Well, this one might have to be censored.
You're going to get carpal tunnel syndrome, dude.
At some point, Josh is going to come up with a swear word that's actually never been heard. And we have the choice to either censor it or sell T-shirts. And I say we sell T-shirts.
Guys, editing isn't as easy as you think it is. You got to go through each individual little blip of voice there and select it. And so there's going to be a lot of selecting going
on. Good luck.
So what did you guys want to talk about first?
Oh, man. I think we were going to hit a little bit on like diet zealots. And how IIFYM is like turning into like two weird disparate cults with no common sense between them. We're going to talk about internet douchebaggery, and I don't know what we're going to do after that.
Okay. All right.
Probably drop the soap. I don't know.
Drop the soap. I'm cool with that. So here's the thing. When it comes to if it fits your macros, I know about if it fits your macros because once upon a time that was like the thing to go to other than Avatar.
Yeah.
You'd go online, you'd say, "Oh, what kind of diet are you on?" Well, I'm counting calories. Well, how are you doing it? If it fits your macros. Oh, well, what's that? Oh, funny you should ask.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Avatar, which always makes me crazy because every time I hear it, I think those damn blue-skinned people in that shitty movie.
Oh, me too. Actually, I was always like, "What is this? It's like really poor branding."
Now, as far as Avatar goes, we've talked about Avatar before. In fact, I believe all three of us have done Avatar.
Yeah.
And I did not have a negative experience. Well, I shouldn't say I didn't have a negative experience. I didn't have a long enough experience for me to say, God, I hated that thing. But I will say, and I've said it in other episodes, that it just kept on, or I think I said it, it just kept on cutting me. I did everything right, and it would just cut me.
Yeah, I think that was my experience too. It wasn't aggressively bad. I've actually told people that it actually hit my macros, my starting macros, almost perfectly, more perfectly than most anything I've done before or since. But the problem was the forced weight loss every week, not every month or every 2 weeks. It was like it became a death march. It was like, oh, you missed it by a quarter pound, and here's another 500 calories gone out of your diet. And I'm just like, okay, but I'm still losing weight, but I'm eating less and less and less. And it got to the point where it got so aggressive that it was just like not sustainable. And honestly, I didn't need to be eating 2,300 calories when I can diet at 28.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, it's designed with the best of intentions. It's just overblown because they want to get these impressive results. So people will go online and say, look what I did when I'm eating an ice cube for dinner because I've been on this for 4 weeks or whatever. But But honestly, it was my first foray into if it fits your macros, and if nothing else, it was a pretty good educational tool. If I'm being honest, it kind of gave me a real world thing to track with and kind of see the feedback instead of just doing it myself. I could kind of see some feedback from some other thing and kind of educate myself from there as to what works and what doesn't.
It's funny you say the ice thing, because isn't there like a meme or something where the guy said it's a guy staring at a plate full of ice, and he said he made his salad. It's a salad. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
It's the only meme I have not seen.
It's a meme directed towards everybody who's cutting. It's like, all right, finally got to my dinner, and all I'm having is a salad. And he's like looking at a salad bowl, and it's filled with ice cubes.
Been there.
Yeah, no, everyone's been there.
But I'm gonna find that. Damn it, I'm gonna find it.
But yeah, it seems like it's just something I've noticed is like, I mean, there have been diet zealots for as long as I've been into fitness, and before that, I mean, we had the vegans, which, I mean, honestly, veganism is almost its own religion because and I don't say that as a knock. I think that's kind of accurate because they have vegans have an ethical problem with eating animals, and I totally respect that. I share some of the same beliefs, but at the same time, I can't not eat bacon.
I respect it unless you are you're off your rocker.
Yeah, and that's where the zealotry comes in. It's like the aggressive veganism where they scream murderer at you when you're at Hardee's or Carl's Jr.
Josh already does that. He just doesn't have to eat in a particular place.
I'm like, why are you eating my damn burger?
It has nothing to do with veganism. He's just mad that people are eating food that he's not.
Exactly. I want to take all of the cow's souls. I want all the souls.
The souls. I must have the cow souls.
It's like a shitty 80s cartoon. He just walks into Burger King, holds up a sword, and just yells, "Cow souls!" And then lightning comes down through the sword.
No, it'd be like a combination of that with Highlander. There can only be one.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It would be like Highlander crossed with Sleepwalkers, which sounds awful.
And you got to put like a horrible Scottish accent on too.
That's the only one I know.
Or Irish or whatever he was. He was
no,
Scots,
it's always my wife's half Irish. She's actually quite the mix. She's Japanese and Irish, or Japanese and Scottish, and she notices quite mournfully that all the villains on movies and TV are Scottish, and they always have that Scottish brogue.
I always find that the guys that play the Irishmen are always the funniest.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you guys remember? I think Saturday Night Live had if it's not Scottish, it's crap.
Yeah. But anyway, back to what the hell we were trying to.
Wait. Before we get back to it, gentlemen, I found my meme, and it really doesn't have anything to do. Oh wait, it does have to do with cutting. All right, so it's a plate full of ice, and it's got a fork and a knife, and it says, "Finally settling down to my vegan, gluten-free, soy-free, antibiotics-free, raw, non-GMO, organic, fat-free, low-carb meal."
That's pretty fantastic. Freaking great.
So anyways, now that I got that out of the way, we go back to what we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we've had vegan zealots for a while, and then we had paleo zealots, which honestly, paleo was kind of just always a giant gimmick. It was a grift. It had nothing to do with the way Paleolithic people ate, and frankly, the Paleolithic man died at like 35, I think, or 32. So yeah, do that diet. And then, of course, now everyone knows about keto zealots. I think
keto. Eric knows about keto. Eric knows a lot about keto.
Oh God,
I'm going to give him crap until he goes back on it for real, because doing it for the length of time he did, and not. I mean, how can you prove that he was in ketosis? I mean, how can you do a diet? And I'm going to be doing an episode tomorrow where I discuss how do you know you're doing the diet correctly, unless you are really testing yourself and saying, yes, I am in ketosis, therefore I am doing keto correctly.
And that's really hard to get to, by the way.
And don't those guys? Do you have to go and pee on a piece of paper? Because that's
too
much. That's too much.
You're talking to somebody who got into keto for about 8 months, and I peed on pieces of paper. I did blood glucose testing, which it is actually completely irrelevant to keto, but supposedly there is a small subset of hardcore keto people who are like want the lowest blood sugar possible while remaining alive.
Here should be the catchphrase for that diet. Do you want to be on a diet that makes you think too much, that makes you want to know more about science, that makes you understand the human body more than any other diet? Go keto.
Do you want to really obsess on whether the small amount of glucose in that flavorless Kool-Aid water you just drank knocked you out of ketosis? Go keto.
I'm still in that steady state of loss. Go keto.
Can you just imagine the absolute state of nirvana that Sting would be in if he was in his tantric sex and in ketosis?
Oh.
I think at that point he'd be like ascended into God or something.
I'm pretty sure that third eye goes whoop, and you know where that third eye is.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not an image I wanted. Thanks, Josh.
Here to help.
Yep. You're helpful.
He's a nice man.
Yeah, he's a very nice man. And now, like, we've started to see the rise of like IIFYM zealots, which is completely opposed because it was supposed to be just like eat whatever fits into your fucking macros and calories. But now there are groups on the internet that will remain nameless throughout this entire discussion that we've all been exposed to.
Yes, please.
That advocate for eating in such a way that it turns eating your macros into something that is like one shade away from an eating disorder. And actually, I pulled up for listeners, all 66 of them. No, after this, we're going to have like 2,000.
I hope.
But I pulled up this post sample from, again, one of these nameless groups. And I think, Josh, you've heard this, and Graham, I know you've had, but I'll read it for the audience. And this is a lady who I think just started eating macros for maybe 2 days, and she's wondering why she's not losing weight. First problem there. But anyway, she goes on, and I think she's discovered why she hasn't been losing weight. And this is a post. So then I know that I weigh the whole recipe. She's making a recipe of something that sounds really bad. My recipe is now pasta with chicken sauce mixed into the pot.
Chicken sauce?
What is chicken sauce?
Maybe it's like chicken and a biscuit made into a sauce. I don't know.
Broth?
Yeah, I think it sounds more like a pasta thing, but I can't quite grok it. Anyway, she continues. Let's say for this example, it weighs like 1,500 grams.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say there's 1,500 gram servings in the recipe. Then tonight, when I go to eat my dinner of chicken pasta, I decided I'm going to scoop out 500 grams of my recipe / pot of chicken pasta. So I select chicken pasta from the recipes and say, I'm having 500 servings to represent 500 grams. Here's my issue. How do I know that those macros are accurate? Like if I scooped out 2 500-gram bowls of that chicken pasta, one for me and one for my boyfriend, one might have more chicken or sauce than the other one, even though they're both 500 grams. There's no way we can ensure the amount of chicken, pasta, sauce, etc. is equal in each 500-gram bowl we scoop out. But my MyFitnessPal / my macros would say the macros are the same because it's 500 grams of the recipe.
First of all, this is a person that is clearly on their way to an eating disorder because they're thinking too hard about everything.
And that is really good OCD medication.
Yeah, it's like you're over, and I guarantee you, it's like you're overthinking the small stuff, and you're not thinking about the big stuff, which is you probably had a Starbucks and didn't count it, and that's like a 500-calorie milkshake.
Yeah, that's actually a great point. I mean, I was talking with Gary about that. A lot of people, they think, oh, I'm drinking liquids here. They don't think, oh, there's 28 grams of sugar, plus you got to throw in the cream and all that fat and everything. Before you know it, you've got a 450-calorie drink right there. Boom.
Oh, yeah. No,
and side note, can you guys hear the word cream without hearing Prince? Because I can't.
Cream and grits?
No, cream without hearing Prince.
Prince?
Oh,
The
Prince.
tiny.
Yeah.
Anyway, never mind.
What?
Prince, dude. Prince. He
Prince.
did a whole album called Cream, I think. Or
You talking
just a
about the
couple.
song? Oh, Prince, not Prince, like fingerprints. I'm over here thinking, what the fuck is he talking about?
Graham's over there on like the My Favorite Murder podcast. He's like, let's talk about fingerprints now.
Let's talk. Is Josh talking about killing somebody? Is he going to kill this person that's talking about how much? How is it? 500 grams worth of prints?
500 grams of DNA left by Josh at the crime scene. But no, I mean, the thing is that you have people who are like, not only just say, hey, you're taking this way too seriously. You need to big picture this. You've got like a certain amount of macros coaches at various services through Instagram who are kind of not only helping this person obsess even further, but are encouraging more people to get this obsessive about whether they have 499 grams of chicken or 500 grams of chicken.
Here's
and
how
that can't be good for anyone.
Here's how we do it. When we have those giant recipes where you just combine a whole bunch of shit together because you don't want to just have protein, you want to throw in maybe some rice, you want to throw in maybe some pasta. Just remember in this whole thing and spread out the chicken evenly, for Christ's sake. Don't lump it together on one side and then put a little bit over here, because then you're going to fuck up. So what I would do, if you're listening to this, lady, which you probably aren't because by now you're pissed off at us, what I would do is evenly distribute the chicken throughout your little baking dish, whatever you're cooking in, and then that way you know, okay, I have put in 400 grams worth of chicken or 500 grams worth of chicken in this dish, and if I take this square out, I know I've taken out 1/4 or whatever, however big your dish is, and then based off that, it's really not that difficult. You just have to make sure that everything is even inside of it. Now, if you're cooking a soup, that's a different story, because just ballpark it, I guess.
Now, Graham, let's get on this lady's level. Lady, if you're listening, get some cheesecloth and a bucket. Pour that shit through the cheesecloth, split it all out, and then recombine once you've measured everything. Because that's the only responsible way a human being can function.
But then you got to think about it, Josh. Is it cooked or raw? Should I? How do I measure it?
Oh, let me get on this. There's I call it the barbecue chicken paradox, and it's how I judge macro coaches. Because, okay, let's say, I think everyone here is familiar with the Instapot. And let's say you throw, I don't know, a pound of chicken breast into the Instapot with some water and some barbecue sauce. And because it's a pressure cooker and because it needs a lot of fucking fluid to do its thing, you can dump the whole bottle in there.
Ooh.
And then when you take the chicken breast out, most of the barbecue sauce is still at the bottom because it's liquid, it's a pressure cooker, it doesn't adhere. Small amount adheres to the chicken. Now, the sign I've always told people of a good macro coach versus one that will give you bulimia is a good macro coach will just say, well, okay, what's the serving size on the bottle? Like 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons? Okay, do 1 or 2 tablespoons. And that seems reasonable. The bad one, and I've actually heard this and from people in real life, is they're like, okay, first you weigh the chicken, the raw chicken, and then you dump in the barbecue sauce, and then you weigh that. Then you have those two values. Then when you cook it, you've got to take it out and weigh that again. And then you got to remove the chicken and weigh the sauce separately from the chicken. And then like you divide that by the pie or something, and somehow you get the appropriate value. Like, what the fuck?
Let's circle back to what If It Fits Your Macros is, because some people might be listening to this and they've never actually heard If It Fits Your Macros. They might have heard it, but they don't know what it's about. And If It Fits Your Macros is just another way of saying flexible dieting. It's unrestricting your diet in a sense that you're still going to do your fat, your protein, and your carbs, but if you want to have that cupcake, if you want to have that donut, you work it in there. You eat it, because we don't care how much sugar is in that piece of food as much as, you know, how many total carbs are you going to be consuming during the day, during the week, whatever.
Yeah. I've explained it to people as like it's it's Weight Watchers, but you just got to eat a lot more protein.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. But you go to our website. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
Oh, honestly, on If It Fits Your Macros, I get a lot better results if I kind of go bro on it, which sounds counterintuitive, but I think it might be a mental thing. And I don't know if it's the mental thing or if it's just the way your body reacts to certain foods, even though a calorie is a calorie, blah, blah, blah. I find that if I don't eat as much of the crap, if I just eat more of the, let's say, nutrient-dense foods, then, I get way better results. So it's like, if It Fits Your Macros sort of unlocks Pandora's box to a little
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I've found that my experience is exactly like yours, Josh, is like if I treat it more like a bro diet, my results are better, and then keep kind of the junk to none or very little. And that's the other side of like the IIFYM zealotry is like there are people that are totally opposed, totally on the opposite side of the chicken and sauce lady, who are just like, eat whatever, eat Pop-Tarts and Cool Whip for dinner. It fits your macros. I'm like, that's not healthy either. That's not that. You've gone from anorexia to bulimia. I mean, that's not good either. Don't do that.
And diabetes.
diabetes. Yeah, you don't do that. Like, all I'm saying here is, why can't we have common sense in this world? Why?
It depends on the generation you're talking about, because the younger generation is filled with stupidity. And younger, I am throwing my generation in there, even though we're hitting that close to middle age mark. But my generation, the generation that came after me, and the generation that's coming after that one, the stupidity is really like you got to put your waders on in order to get into that room, because the shit is deep. When you get in there, you got to do a lot of hand holding. You got to pat everybody on the back, tell them they're doing a good job. And if you say that to one person, you have to say it to them all.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a microaggression.
Yep.
Yeah. Social media is what's caused all this. And I mean, as much as I love it, it's also the downfall of civilization. We are so sensitive now to every little thing, and everyone's got some little cheerleader group to go and cry to. And it's just freaking crazy.
No, it's the echo chamber. And it's gotten worse and worse with Facebook and Twitter. But I remember, I think it's the internet in general, because I remember in my young 20s, I was writing freelance, and I did a part-time gig for a year and a half as like a photographer's assistant, just kind of loading cameras and all the gear, because I'm a big, strong guy, and setting stuff up, and I'm pretty technical, so I know all that stuff. And I had to go online because a lot of the photographers I worked with were like 50, 60 years old. And this is when the digital SLRs first came out. They're all digital, but they're on an SLR body. And these 50-year-old guys would hand them to me and be like, I don't know, you need to figure this out for me. So, of course, I had to go online and start figuring this out and figuring out the instructions and what have you and settings. And I wandered into message boards, and you would find these guys who make $100,000, $200,000 a year as professional photographers arguing like 6-year-olds about Nikon versus Canon. It was shameful. It was also hilarious.
Well, don't worry. It still lives on. I am a golfer, and if you go on a golf message board, it's the same thing. Everyone's like, this brand versus that brand's crap. It's just amazing, the idolatry people attach to objects. And I don't know. It's entertaining. I like to stir the pot.
Oh, yeah. I'm a huge Mac guy. I mean, I just prefer it to Windows. But every so often, like if I see something on Facebook that's a little too like Apple lovey, I'm just like, HomePod sucks, and just see what happens. I mean, it's every so often it's nice to pierce the bubble.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I just I got Facebook on right now as we're talking, and the first thing to pop up on here is this. Thank you. Yeah. It's this video that Josh commented on about a milk carton being cut with scissors.
What?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a life hack from opening up milk, because whenever you try to open it up, it always like tears. Oh, wow. Well, this is genius.
It's no longer 1980. So does milk still come in cartons like that?
I was about to say the only
we have spilling everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, this is great podcasting. We're listening to Graham watch a video and him reacting to it.
Every podcast, I go online and I look something up. This time, it just happened to catch my attention. I'm telling everybody about it.
Yeah, and I actually maybe it's a California thing because I think our milk rolls are like oddly different.
Yeah.
Like all the cartons now have like the screw tops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do actually. Yeah, because we get silk. We don't drink milk anymore here, but I do remember that milk used to come in a screw top plastic jug. But now we get the silk, and that also has a screw top on it too.
Did anyone have, by the way, and this is getting tangential, but what the hell, bags of milk?
Bags of milk.
No,
yeah,
no, they're called boobs.
And Josh is like, I know where I could find 2 of those. They're in this house.
Yeah. Josh is like, yeah, that's at the Seven Veils, man. But no, in the 80s, it actually was huge in Canada. And I remember it being a thing. It was actually covered in the local news in my hometown in Indiana. It's like the local dairy creamer, which, by the way, a creamer, even though I know it's a technical term for a guy who makes milk, sounds like a pedophile. It's like, oh, yeah, he's a local creamer. Stay away from him. But no, he came out with like, there are these plastic bags full of milk. You buy a gallon of milk in a plastic bag. And the theory is that you're supposed to buy this pitcher and put the plastic bag in the pitcher, and the pitcher had a little notch that you stuck the end of the plastic bag in and cut it, and you could still pour milk. Guess what happened to that milk?
Got a hole poked in it.
Well, that, or you would cut the hole too big, and it would just split open, and the bag of milk would go everywhere.
Or you would wait until your friend is passed out, drunk asleep, and throw a bag of milk at them.
Yeah, it was a horrible idea. I actually, when I moved to lived in Canada for about a year and a half, they still had that, and it was a horrible idea. My girlfriend at the time would bring it back, and I'm just like, "What? We're going to spill that. Get the cartons next time." So yeah, milk bags, people, don't do that. Don't do it.
So Graham, are you drinking silk because you are like somehow ethically opposed to the way cows are treated, or does milk just give you the poopsie dropsies?
Oh, nothing. No, it doesn't. I can drink milk. I can drink milk.
You milk me?
You can milk me anytime, Josh. No, I can drink milk just fine. The thing is, we have 4 people in the house now, and Connie doesn't drink milk. She prefers not to, so she drinks this coconut milk or almond milk. It used to be, what the hell did it start out as? She used to drink the soy milk. Now we do almond milk. So the kids drink it. So rather than, a long time ago, I used to have Connie buy something else for me. And then in order to be more budget friendly, I just decided, oh, what the hell, I'll just eat and drink what everybody else is doing. So it just became the thing.
Right on. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I really don't care how cows are treated. Just to clarify that for our vegan listeners, I like steak. I like burgers. I feel that meat is there for us to eat because we have, always wanted to eat.
I'm with you. If I ever had a heartbeat, I'm going to eat that shit. But, and that brings me to another diet. Apparently, this is National Vegan Month. Not vegan. Carnivore Month. The exact opposite. It's Carnivore Month. As much as I would like to live in a world where I only eat meat, I don't think I can imagine it.
Mm-hmm.
I can imagine it. It's called colon cancer.
Right.
The wondrous world of radiation therapy. Yeah, I have either of you guys tried the carnivore diet? Because I haven't. The only time I saw when Lobeliner was doing he's try his like one diet a week for a month because he's weird and obsessive. I know he tried it and he said like he did nothing but like pee out his ass for like 2 weeks.
Okay, but Lobeliner at the beginning of everything it's the best thing he's ever done. And then by
Of
the
course.
end of it, garbage. But the thing I got on carnivore with, not got on, I didn't never try it, but I was listening to another podcast from Mark Bell, and it was Lane Norton, PhD, take a shot, and some other guy, I can't remember his name, who was like carnivore. And it was a debate between the two, and it was actually a pretty good listen. And it was a lot of good points about what the carnivore diet does, but it just doesn't sound like the way the human body is supposed to function. It just, I don't know if it's just ingrained into me or if it's whatever, but it doesn't seem right. And I don't think I can afford it.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing is like keto. When I did keto, even though I was single at the time, I did it about 8 months before I met my wife. Maybe a little bit longer, maybe a year and a half. But it was like, I mean, as a single guy eating macros or just eating calories, I would spend like $100 maybe on groceries. On keto, I was spending like $200, $250 a week.
Wow.
I mean, because you can't eat any chicken breast, so it's like steak, bacon, pork, chicken thighs maybe. And yeah, it was hella expensive. But I mean, I think you could probably live on carnivore because the human body is like pretty adaptive, but I just don't think it's a good idea. I mean, unless you're just like one of those people, and it's like people I know who have done really well on keto is like have never worked out. Like they're obese, but they went past like just being obese to like, I guess it's called morbidly obese or chronically obese, where they're like, 5'8" and 400 pounds. And they literally have no self-control. It's like they've tried regular diets, but they can't just usually after my lunches on the weekdays, I'll eat a cookie or a brownie or something and log the calories. They can't. They will, if they have one Oreo, it ends up being the package. And for them, keto works because it's like, okay, just get rid of that shit. And you're just going to eat salad, broccoli, high-fat meat, which will keep you satiated, and cheese if you do dairy. Some keto people don't do dairy, and it works for them because like they need that discipline and control because they have issues with emotional eating and have had for all their lives. But at the same time, that's more of a patch. Like sooner or later, like you're going to need to like be able to manifest some amount of self-control because like I don't think keto's sustainable. I just don't see that. It may be for like a very small subset of people, but I think eventually you're going to want a piece of bread, and justifiably so.
I agree with you wholeheartedly on that, except I've already done an interview where I've talked to somebody and a family member of theirs chose keto because they were feeling with every diet they did, they just couldn't feel good. There was this, I don't know, they couldn't figure out they would have problems, and every diet, it might get better, but then it sort of got worse. And then they did keto. And the one part that they linked to it was as soon as they stopped eating bread, they started feeling way better. And I think, now call me crazy, but I just think that this person they're either celiac or some sort of gluten allergy
intolerance,
or intolerance of some sort. But I think in that instance, that is sustainable because that person was quoted as saying that they're extremely happy now, and they've been actually technically keto for a long time.
Yeah, and keto does work for like it seems to work best for people who have a lot of autoimmune issues because it's a very extreme form of elimination. So like unless you have a reactive issue with meat, which is very rare, you're probably going to just eliminate all your allergens in one fell swoop, except for maybe dairy.
There is a tick. It's the Lone Star tick. And if it bites you, it introduces a toxin into your bloodstream that causes an allergy to meat.
Really? So like my mom is allergic to chicken. If she eats chicken, she gets these big, crazy, crusty, puffy Aerosmith lips. It's hilarious.
Can you take a picture for me?
If I pick her to eat it, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that's related to the tick, but they call it Lone Star because it's a tick that originated down in Texas, and it's migrated all over the U.S. now. thanks to our not so harsh winters in certain areas, the tick has migrated very quickly.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, getting back to the conversation because I've got limited time here. You guys want to talk about douchebaggery on social media, reflecting back to if it fits your macros. Now, I personally have not, just in case anybody from the douchebaggery committee is tuning in and feels that I am attacking them in any way, let me tell you, I personally am not, but I've invited these gentlemen to share their stories. I did not take part in anything. I was not a member of any group outside the groups I'm already in. And so I do know and am very well aware that it does not take just two gentlemen to create a douchebag. You have to be a douchebag, be born a douchebag. It just, you're already that way. So, guys, you guys have been across the internet. You've gone on Facebook. You guys, let's just face it. I'm not a troll king, but I do enjoy trolling every once in a while. It's fun. You guys are, gosh, you guys are like up there when it comes. I mean, if any championships are ever held, I'm pretty sure you guys would make the final five.
Nicest thing it was ever said to me. Yeah, it's an art form, but it's like it's a hobby. It sometimes it's like a form of release. It's like you're frustrated with something, and let's go find a punch bag on the internet. But yeah, as far as like the whole health thing, it's like anything else. It's like sports, it's like politics, it's like religion. Everyone's idea is the best idea, and you can't tell them otherwise. But I'm gonna, people get too far up their own ass and can't see the forest for the trees. And I can probably throw a few more analogies that you've heard a few thousand times in here. But, I like to take a shot and make somebody think something. But
the biggest thing to douchebaggery that I can compare this to is I'm going to use this as one example because my wife showed me the post one day and I just the guy posts, I don't remember exactly what he said, but if the best way to gauge your fat level instead of using calipers or whatever else you want to do, just stand in front of a mirror and jump up and down. And if you're jiggling too much, you got to lose some body fat.
Well, I prefer the method of you sit down shirtless and kind of bend over and try to put your head to your knees. And however many ripples you can see is the game.
You want to talk about creating eating disorders? That's a great way. It's like, they're not going away.
There's a small piece of me that jiggles. Yeah, it's not like, and like, I guess I am a troll king. I don't know, but yeah, I do know I am a troll king. But for me, it's more about, I have a really big problem with authority. And and it's not like legitimate authority. It's more like unearned authority of like, yeah, and authority that even isn't authority. It's just like, I know this because I'm great. It's like, no, you don't. And it's like, sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. I mean, it's like what I hate to see, especially in diet groups on the internet or message boards, are people who create this perception of infallibility where it's like, I know everything and no one knows anything else and my word is gospel. Actually, I think, Erica was like, if you've read everything I've written and you can quote it by heart, like you haven't really learned anything, which is kind of Buddhist of him, but very true. It's like, this isn't gospel, people. It's techniques to lose weight. Don't take it as inherent gospel. And dear God, don't obsess on it to the point of like giving yourself some kind of body dysmorphia or eating disorder.
Hell yeah. I couldn't, I think it goes back to what you said about when Josh said, I do a little bit of bro science with this, or bro thought. You can't do it to a T. If you do, you're going to lose your mind. Oh, yeah. You're going to be in that kitchen. You're going to be looking at your food. You're going to be like, fuck, what the fuck, fuck. And then there will be no fucking for you because you'll be in this kitchen screaming and scaring everybody away. There won't be any more fucking for you.
Or what if you're somebody who lifts weights and you have no calves?
Are we talking about Patrick?
Of course we are.
Yeah, he's another one who said he wants to get on here and do another podcast. Maybe if we talk about his calves enough, he might come on.
I hope so.
He'll come on and talk about his calves.
It's a feature episode. Patrick's calves, Patty calves.
Patty calves.
Should be their own episode.
Sounds like a children's book.
It'd be a very short episode because there's not much to talk about.
It would have to be if it is a children's book, I can make it into a pop-up book maybe. The calves just like pop out at you. Except they'll be like really small. It'll be like a little spring. How did we get on Patrick?
I just wanted to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Certain things just come to me, like, also like if an Olympic lifter lifts and no one is around to record it, did they really lift?
Yeah. Tree falls deep in the forest. Did anybody know about it? Did anybody hear it? What's it called? What is that? The same thing?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing, essentially. If you didn't put it on Instagram, it didn't happen, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Let's see what else.
So Josh, I gotta bait you with this. You go on a Facebook group or forum. You ask for recommendations for a pre-workout. 6 people, all of them CrossFitters, tell you, I only drink coffee as a pre-workout.
Oh, or vegans.
Or vegans.
Or
keto people who hate caffeine, which is actually a thing.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
I don't know. It annoys me, but it's like it goes back to the whole thing of I'm better than everybody, listen to me, blah blah blah. I'm somehow superior because I do less of this than you. Because people act like pre-workout is steroids. It's not freaking steroids, people. It helps you a little bit of focus, maybe a little bit of energy. I work early in the morning.
What was that noise?
It's what?
What was that noise? There was like a trickle of water or something.
Oh, maybe. I think I just drank some water, so that was me.
Oh, it sounded very reflecting. Like he's in the middle of talking, and there's like this water trickling. So keep going, Josh.
Yeah. So
steroids.
I mean, the whole coffee thing. To me, it's just like a superiority. I mean, if you just need caffeine, great. But I'm somebody. If you give me a hot cup of coffee, I'm gonna drink it an hour later because my little pussy mouth can't handle hot. So. It's just not going to happen. But pre-workout, give me something fruity, something I can just kind of enjoy. It gives me, and maybe it's just a mental thing. Maybe it just makes me think that I'm ready. Maybe it's just like priming the engine. 2
things for you, Josh. For one, Larry can definitely get you something fruity if you want it in your mouth. And 2, don't talk about coffee before working out in front of Larry. It's like a pet peeve of his.
It's a pet peeve of mine.
It's not actually, in my defense, it's not a pet peeve. See, that's how you like to work out, groovy. But don't use it as a way to think that you're better than everyone else because, dude, you just drank coffee.
I see. Okay. Yeah. I've never actually said, oh, man, I can drink coffee before a workout and I'm better than you. What I do is I mainly do it when I'm trying to get off that stim reliance.
Yeah.
Which I've been off of it long enough now that if I was to go back on, I'd probably go back to that. Ooh, I can move things with my mind.
Well, I think Larry and I are both stem junkies. I'm not going to argue that point. I certainly enjoy it. But
what's your pre-workout of choice?
Do a pump. Well, honestly, literally the best pump I've ever had in a workout was when I was traveling and I had 2 beers before I went to work out, and the pump was amazing. But do I think that drinking beer before you work out is a great idea? No, I do
not. And yeah, it's like not a pet peeve. It's just like, man, just do it. Like I have lived my life by one very cardinal rule, which is like, just do what you want to do and don't tell everyone else that how to live their life. It's like, just like be, man.
Yes, Mr. Lebowski.
Hey, I saw a trailer. Are they really coming out with a new, like a sequel?
I don't know if that's like a sequel or a Super Bowl ad or what it is.
Oh, yeah. I guess it could be just a Super Bowl ad. But it would be cool if they came out with another one. But you can't really bring John Candy in it because John Candy's lost all that weight.
Yeah, he has. He wouldn't have a lot to say in this movie, I don't think.
No.
But honestly, I think his performance would probably be more convincing than Tara Reid's weird boobs.
Oh, good point. Yeah, she's done so much stuff to her body now. She looks nothing like she did before either.
Yeah.
And Donnie died in the last one, so unless they bring him back as a spirit.
Or they could bring him back and just act like no one knows, or like it never happened.
You're like a child that wanders in the middle of a movie.
By the way, Graham, you're going to get emails. That was John Goodman, who's still very much alive. John Candy died, I think, right around the time of the first Big Lebowski.
Did I say John Candy?
Yeah. You meant John
I totally
Goodman.
meant John Goodman. I was thinking, no, seriously. I was thinking, okay, people, if you want to email me about John Candy, that's fine. I know he died back in the 90s, but John Goodman is who I meant. I was thinking John Goodman, but out came John Candy, probably because I missed John Candy. I think his movies were fucking awesome. Although towards the end there, they got a little repetitive. But, I mean, you could say the same thing about Chris Farley. I mean, everybody loved him, but then towards the end, got a little repetitive because all he did was play a fat fuck that was stupid and stuff.
But yes, John Candy's amazing. If you want to watch The Great Outdoors every day for 3 weeks, I'm down.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic right there. Uncle Buck. What was another one? There's Canadian Bacon is another one that he was in, but I only saw it once, and it was a long time ago. But and Trains, Planes, Automobiles, that's a classic. Anyways, yeah, don't email me, don't harass me about the John Candy thing. Thank you for pointing that out. I really did mean John Goodman. He is no longer a fat fuck, and so it'd be really hard for him to play. What was his character's name?
Walter.
Thank you. Yeah, you crossed the line. Market zero.
But my comment about Tara Reid's boobs still stands.
Okay, yeah, very good.
Yeah, no, I think that's eternal. We should just put that on a plaque somewhere because, like, Tara Reid's boobs are weird.
So thank you for correcting me there. Now that we've gone off on a really big tangent with filmography, what else do we want to go into? Pre-workout. So you're talking about beer gave you the best pump. Other than beer, what can you think about?
Well, so this is going to sound a little crazy, but if you spend a lot of time watching certain, let's say, fitness celebrities or read a lot of blogs or this, that, or the other, everyone talks about the mythical mind-muscle connection. Never made any sense to me. It's like, I mean, I got it, but like I was never like, I understand what this is happening to me. Until one day, I discovered a magical ingredient called DMHA, and it was in Sidewalk Cracker. From a very, very quiet man named
I've used that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I got motherfucking fruit punch.
Yeah, man. Then when I went to work out, it's like all of a sudden I got it. I don't know if it was that or a coincidence, but like that sort of made me, like they say, see sounds, I guess. And
yeah, I thought I was going to die.
I got the mind muscle connection, and like I get it now, and it's like it feels like it took me to another level. I mean, not like I need it to get there, but it's like it sort of, whether it's a chemical thing in your body that makes you discover that mind muscle connection, that is kind of figure out how to do it, or just coincidence, whatever. But like since that day, I have reached the ascendance of ninja or whatever that is.
So speaking of working out, are you guys doing any cutting, bulking, maintenance right now? What do you guys got going on?
I'm in a slow cut. I'm in a program called Fitness Culture. I think Chase Howell, which you interviewed before, also does that, and it kind of takes your brain out. They give you everything. That kind of give you some of the numbers and some guidance, and it's kind of like a bodybuilding WOD. They give you the workout of the day, and it's a periodized program, and it's been really effective for me.
That's good. Yeah, I'm doing I've been doing a cut now for almost a week. It'll be a week on Monday's check-in. I'll be done 1 week with my cut, and I'm doing pretty good for a week. I As with any cut, when you start going and incorporating the workouts and whatnot, you're going to see a little bit of a spike, and then all of a sudden it's going to start trickling down.
Uh-huh.
I'm just now starting to see that little bit of a trickle 5 days into it. So I did a mini-sode on Wednesday. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I'm doing mini-sodes now every Wednesday. On the Facebook page, I do the Facebook Live video, and I was discussing how a lot of people have a big misconception of fat loss, where as soon as you get into the diet plan, boom, you start losing the weight. And it's really not the case. And it really also depends on where you've been, where you are, what you're doing, what you plan to do. It's this big equation, and everybody sees results differently.
Yeah. I mean, and actually, I'm cutting now too, and about a weekend. I was planning to start right after the first of the year, but just shit got in the way, and it's coming off like about a pound a week, which is about what you expect. But I always tell people, it's like, if you think you're going to lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks or something, like the Cosmo diet, nah, dog, you ain't.
Well, but if you're starting out with somewhere where you're eating just garbage all the time, just eating nonstop shit, and then all of a sudden you're eating kind of responsibly, you drop all those carbs, you're going to drop a lot of water weight. And you're like, this shit's working, I'll drop 5 pounds more. And then
you can plateau.
It's not much. And you come down to reality, and you're eating like a normal human being, and it becomes more gradual. And I think people kind of lose focus when they're not seeing that scale just dropping a lot. But it's water.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's handy to body fat's a handy tool to kind of give you a gauge of where you are. Actual body fat measurements, not jumping up and down in front of a mirror.
Count the ripples.
Yeah, and then you get the people who say, "Well, I'm gonna just do cardio and do this. I'm not gonna lift weights because I don't want to look big." And a lot of people throw well, I do this because people told me I was going to look big, but look at me now. I mean, yeah, it's not going to really make you look big. No, if anything, lifting weights and cutting at the same time definitely adds to more of a better physique when you reach that body fat percentage that just you look better than if you were a long distance runner and you turned sideways and disappeared for a second.
Yeah, exactly. So it took forever to get this through my wife's head. When I met her, she loved running. She was like, I'm going to run a half marathon. Do you want to do it with me? Fuck no, I don't want to do that with you. But she loved it. And she was eating, she wasn't intentionally eating keto, but she kind of was. Dinner for her was some grilled chicken strips and some zucchini and onion or whatever. I almost died of starvation when we first met. But she was all about cardio and doing T25 and all this, which T25 kind of has its place for that sort of mentality, but she's finally embraced lifting weights, and I think she enjoys it. And what people don't recognize is not only is it good for now, but you're doing all this to better your body for the future as you get older. You alluded earlier to the fact that we're sort of tiptoeing to middle age. Well, my dad's 68, and that dude can outrun me, I'm pretty sure. And that's freaking crazy. But, he's in amazing shape for his age, and I would like to be able to do that, because then I see someone else who's 55 and they can barely get out of the chair. You got to take care of yourself a little bit, and just running is going to beat yourself to death.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some study I happened across not long ago that's one of the determinants of when you're going to die and what kind of aging process you're going to go through is muscle mass. The more muscle mass you have, the better chances of you not completely falling apart by age 70. Which is borne out. I mean, you look at people like Arnold, who is now 76, I think, 75, and he, for his age, he looks great and looks, a little younger than 75, 76. I mean, you can't neglect it. I remember back in my 20s, before I got into weight training and bodybuilding, it's I was one of those guys because I always had crap genetics and crap metabolism, so I'd put on weight regardless. So to lose weight, you do a bunch of cardio and do some shitty diet, and yeah, you'd lose weight, but you'd always come out looking like just deflated, not not like anywhere.
Your stomach went down, but so did your ass.
Yeah, exactly. You just look like a balloon. You get like a pin popped in a balloon.
Yeah, I will never lose my ass, man. I think I need to buy pants by FUBU. It's just that thing's not going away.
That's the stuff that not white people wear, right?
That's the one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got one of them booties, man. But actually, Larry, you made a comment there, something I wanted to ask you guys. Like, how long have you guys been into like the gym or into dieting or into whatever? Like, how long has this been part of your life?
For me, 2016.
Probably pretty close to that for me too. But I feel like the first year, I don't know if I really count it because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. It's the learning curve of doing something by yourself is so steep.
Yeah.
For me, it was like the diet stuff started. I was a heavy kid. I was a fat kid. And then I broke my ankle at 17. I messed it up. It was essentially shattered. And part of the process of going through rehab for it was losing weight. And I managed to lose, I went from 350 pounds to 175.
Whoa.
And through most of my 20s, I maintained a decent weight range, but it was all through low carb diets and stuff like that. Lots of cardio. I really didn't work out too much. I really wasn't into the gym, and then had some personal setbacks. Went and put on a decent amount of weight, and then after around 30, after the breakup with my ex-girlfriend, my then ex-girlfriend, and it was one of those rough breakups. It was okay, I mean, this is a problem I need to solve in my own brain for my own kind of self-esteem and self-satisfaction. So I started going to the gym right around 30. I was late to it, 31, 32.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm 39 now, which is still shocking. It's I can't believe I'm going to turn 40 next year.
Yeah, if we were to throw in that I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, I would definitely, I don't know. I mean, technically, I started lifting weights back in 2003, 2004, somewhere around there. But I there was such a big gap in there that I finally went back to it in 2016 because I don't know. I mean, 2008, I tried to pick it back up, and then that fell apart. And then fast forward 8 years, sorry. And I don't know, I had one kid already, 2.5, almost 3, and then the other kid was born, and I was weighing in close to 260 pounds, and I just told my wife, you know what, I knew that she wasn't happy with the weight that she put on because it was hard for her to lose the weight after the first kid, and then she put on more weight after the second kid, and I knew she wasn't happy with that. So it was just one of those things where we decided to do it together and take it more seriously.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
So, so I wanted to tell you guys something, and to the listeners out there, whoever you are, trying to hook up with Eden, but she is this. She's a nurse, and nurses, they don't do anything else other than help people, because that's what they do. Nurses are there to help people and solve mysteries that doctors can't solve, or stuff like that. Most of the time they are the doctor, because doctors are stupid sometimes. Yeah. But Eden is working around the clock, guys, and I'm trying to get her nailed down for this podcast episode that I still have to. I got all the data that I want. I just have to compile it into the episode so I can just go from start to finish, boom, 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 boom. Do you guys know the episode I'm talking about that I've been planning for?
Not really.
Okay, this is centered around a certain murder that happened, and it involved a certain gym. and they turned it into a movie, and the movie really wasn't that big of a hit, probably because it was Michael Bay, I think, did it, maybe. Anyways,
is this is based on Pain and Gain, right?
yeah.
Pain and Gain's amazing. But I love that movie. It's fantastic.
So I have not watched the movie. I don't want to watch the movie because I'm afraid that it will. If I do watch the movie, it's going to have to be after I read all the court documents and whatnot, because I don't want to have the predetermined notion of how it could have been. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I've already read some
court documents.
What?
Are you literally going to go read court documents?
Oh yeah, I'm going to read up. I got them right here in front of me. I got all this court documentation on Lugo and it's pretty long.
My man Cam knows how to party.
What?
I said, you know how to party.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's the thing is I haven't read it at all because it's just so freaking long. I mean, it gives me all the data. I'm not going to Wikipedia, people. I'm not doing any of that. I am doing this because I'm inspired by a podcast called Small Town Murder and also Crime and Sports. So I'm like combining the two. I'm combining sports, fitness, and a murder. And it's not something that I'm going to keep on doing, but it was requested by some people to, when I asked for ideas, someone said, well, why don't you do a murder podcast? I'm like, well, I'm not going to spend more money on a different server and get another podcast going because this gets expensive, man. So I am instead just going to create a random episode and orient it around, okay, so if you work out at a gym, here's a way you can make money to pay off your membership. You can extort money. Something like that. But try not to kill the guy.
And Eden is the person for this podcast because she seems kind of murdery?
She's the kind of person that would definitely be like, oh, shit. Oh, what? What happened? You know, I want her reactions. I want to be like, so, Eden, what do you think happened next? And then she could be like, that motherfucker stabbed a bitch.
Okay, I get that then.
Yes.
Yeah.
And make sure you at least title the thing or work in Angry Dragon in some way.
Angry Dragon.
Also, I think Eden's into true crime, which, I mean, honestly, is there a woman in her 30s, or 20s, 30s, or 40s who isn't into true crime right now?
No.
Because it feels like every woman is into true crime.
The other day at work. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So Law and Order SVU got all these women infected with all this crime stuff, and now they can't get enough. They've gone to the real stuff because SVU has gotten a little repetitive.
Oh, yes. Yeah, when I was at work the other day, I mentioned to somebody, hey, I have a podcast, and it's been up now for a little over a month. I have quite a few downloads a month now. I have, listeners are expanding, and I'm doing a lot of networking. Maybe you should check it out. And when I told them what it was, because they're like, what's your podcast about? It's fitness and nutrition. They're like, oh, okay. And I said, but I am thinking about introducing an episode where I discuss a murder. And they all go, oh, well, when you get there, let us know. We'll listen to that episode. I was like, okay, great.
Well, so then after that, you're going to have to do like a sexy time episode, and you're going to have just crazy downloads for the sexy time one.
What's the sexy time one? What would I have to do for that?
I don't know,
Get naked.
Yeah.
Naked. Hey, everybody, I'm doing this podcast naked.
You guys don't know that I'm naked right now.
Actually, that'd actually be a cool podcast to do. Not naked, but I mean, if you do a podcast where you talk about, okay, if you want to focus on these workouts, I can guarantee you your sex life will improve drastically. And I'm not talking about the one where you see the guy with the leg curl machine or leg extension machine where he's humping the roller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not stuff like that.
So like every video from India, basically.
Ooh, yeah. Wait, like, is that Bollywood?
I don't know about Bollywood, but spend enough time on the internet, you learn a thing or two about different cultures.
You know what I mean, Bollywood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The really bad acting that is inspired by American movies.
Yeah, and the amazing dancing they do.
Yeah, they like break out into song and dance very This is so stupid. But hey, that's what they're into.
If anyone's really knows what doesn't know what Bollywood is, Google. I think it's just Google something like Fight Club India or Fight Club Bollywood. Bollywood got into this really bad habit. They've kind of stopped because they kept getting sued of knocking off American films, and right around the time they're all getting sued, some producer in Bombay or whatever it's called now, Hyderabad, knocked off Fight Club, but it's Indian Fight Club with bad acting and like several dance numbers.
I could not want to watch that more. Larry, you know I love Fight Club. What are you doing?
Hang on, I gotta shut my Alexa. Alexa, cancel.
Oh, Alexa does that to us too. We'll be sitting there, and all of a sudden, she'll just say, "I don't know that," and we'll be like, "What the fuck, Alexa?"
There's once my wife and I were just talking right before we went to sleep, and the Alexa in our bedroom tried to order a DVD copy of Abraham Lincoln.
Oh,
and
funny.
You guys have the best role play going on in there.
Force gone 7 years ago.
Back of my
I after visiting my in-laws one time after Garrett it was sometime after Garrett was born, and he figured out how to grab a remote and push the buttons on it. He must have been maybe 1.5, somewhere around there. I wound up owing my in-laws $20 or $30 because he went on Amazon Prime on their Prime account and ordered a movie. And my father-in-law goes, "Did you guys watch a movie when you're here? Because you bought this." And we're like, "No." And then we're like, "Oh, Garrett."
Man, I'm not that far off from that. So my daughter's 1.5 years old, and she tries to talk to Alexa, but she can't quite say it, so I'm still safe. But it's always always saying Wexa Baby Shark, because that's what I need in my life is more Baby Shark.
Yeah, Garrett will run around and he hears us saying, "Alexa, what's this?" So he runs around and he goes, "Alexa, Alexa," but she doesn't respond because she doesn't understand. Almost a 3-year-old with who doesn't know how to pronounce L's very well.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had a realization the other day that we were relying on a little too much because my wife was putting her to sleep, and she says, "Do you want to sing a lullaby?" And so the first thing she says is, "Alexa." So she thinks the only way you can sing a lullaby is if Alexa is going to, play the music for you.
Nice. Well, on that note, gentlemen, is there anything else you want to talk about? Otherwise, I'm going to skedaddle here.
Yeah, I think we've bullshitted enough for an hour.
Yeah, it was a good bullshit episode, but you know what? It wasn't all total bullshit. It was functional information.
Oh, please change the tagline of your podcast to Sweat and Iron, functional information.
Functional information.
But for real, if we ever do it again, I would like to talk about what works for you at working out, a little more like the workout techniques and stuff. But that's a whole other hour.
Oh, we could definitely bang out an hour with that. I have no problem with that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for stopping by and spending an hour with me. It's always fun talking to Larry and Josh. This was the first time with you outside of Facebook. It was, how do I say this? You don't put on a different persona when you're online. You stay the same.
Yep.
Which is awesome. It means that you're genuine.
Hey, thanks.
So, and keep on being you because I really enjoy talking to you. So, everybody else, I hope you learned something in this episode. I'm not sure what the takeaway would be, but if you want, go ahead and make your own takeaway because we talked about so much bullshit and shit and functional stuff.
I hope you listen because there will be a quiz.
There will be, and it'll be a surprise quiz too.
And the loser gets murdered.
By Eden. All right, Eden. We love you, Eden. We really do. We wish that you would stop working and pay more attention to us. Okay, so now that I said that, everybody out there, you keep setting your goals. You keep at it.